sucker!
First of all, good ass movie. I recommend everybody go out there and see the movie Sinner. I think that Michael B. Jordan did a wonderful job. I mean, I'm gonna ask you, out of 5 stars, what do you give his acting in that movie, Fresh?
5.
5 out of 5.
And I'm trying to think of reasons to why to bring it down, but realistically it's not, because you basically smacked him with 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, you smacked him with both roles, and as you watch the movie, you forget that he's both of them.
That's something that I do agree on. I mean, they were twins. Well, spoiler alert, if you don't know, they were twins. Michael B. Jordan plays two people, but they were twins, but you can tell the difference of the personality. So it was great acting on Michael B. Jordan. I would probably give it a 4.5, 4. You know what I'm saying? The supporting cast was good. The white people was wildin'. I'm sticking to that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but they nailed it. Like,
yeah,
everybody white, everybody Asian, everybody. I think nailed.
They nailed the movie without giving any spoiler alerts. Now, I'll give you my minuses before I give you my pluses. My minuses, I wish I would have just had a little bit more backstory on Smoke and Stack. You know what I mean? Just a little bit more. I know that we got that hint about the gentleman when he shot the gentleman in the ass.
I think for the sake of movie making, it's just hard to do, because you got to keep a certain speed.
Yeah.
And what I noticed with the movie, watching it at the movie theater, it was a slow build. So, you know, some people say I need more backstory, but it's just like, there's a rhythm to movies that you have to keep a pace. And if you were to do that, that might throw off the pace and you might lose the audience.
And this is something that I hope that sometimes they put on when you get the DVD. They might have that extended version where they might have when they tell that story.
I seen some things with alternate endings, but I don't know to what effect. It might have more of the. I think it did show a little bit, or gave a little bit more of the story of them.
The thing is, that's really not really a bad thing. No. I understand. I'm with you. I'm with you. Your excuse on why they probably had to do it for editing purposes. We got to get to it. You know what I mean? We have to get to it. But just me as a person,
right?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not really a bad thing. I know editing purpose, they had to get to it, but me as a person, I'm on some shit like, make it 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's one of those things, it's like when you're watching a movie and you personalize it, there's always a way it could have been better.
Yeah.
Or I wanted to see this, or I wanted to see that. For the individual, but for, you know.
No, it's not a bad movie because you don't see that. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
This is just for me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not, you know what I mean? This is just for me. I wish I could have got some backstory with them, because when it first starts off, when I first see them, I'm automatically thinking that they're vampires and they're about to, you know what I'm saying, do the little cousin dirty. You know what I think? You know what I mean? But we get a little backstory.
I think maybe you might have thought that because you were getting certain things because you didn't even want to see it. Based on our conversation, we talked about it. You know what I mean? And you said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and check it out.
But the strength of you.
Okay. Okay. So that like I could see where you could have that perspective on it, and from the looks of the way it's printed out on the posters, you can see that like, oh yeah, I see them being on some, you know, that type tip.
I'm thinking it's not fair to say this. It was going to be on some Dusk Till Dawn type of vibe.
Mm-hmm. And I think there was a lot of people trying to say this was like a swagger jacket ad, and really it wasn't, but I'm quite sure he was inspired to a degree. But now they flip and say, oh, well, they're brothers and this and that, but they don't understand it's more based on going into the music and the timing.
I don't see the inspiration at all.
No, he even said that. He said he had some, you know, not to the point of I did it because of that, but it's just like, I mean, if you're a movie buff, and the deal that he made was kind of like the same type of deal that Quentin made. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there has to be some type of inspiration to a degree.
Right.
You know, just making movies, you're seeing a lot of different things go on, and I mean, but it's separate movie.
I see it now, but I did not think Dusk Till Dawn to that. I mean, the two brothers, that's one thing, but they're twins. It's different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the acting, because
and the storyline.
The acting and the storyline, only thing I get is, which is a reach. Well, okay, two brothers and the vampire thing, but like you said, you had a music element in there. You had just certain nuances in there to it. And me as a person, I like to call the movie, like we talked earlier, Get Out too. Because I like the way they stuck to the old school vampire theme of, hey, if you you let this person in your house, no telling what they could do.
Right. And they have to be welcome in.
And that was nicely, the way they played that was nicely done. I like I said, it was a good movie. Good movie.
Yeah, and the reason why I give it 5, and like I try to search, because I was going to say 4.5, but I said, you know what? I have to go ahead and give it the 5 because, and it's hard to give it 5 because I don't give a lot of movies 5. Like, for me, there's only a couple movies. Like, my favorite movie is City of God. And I give that a 5, and it's subtitles. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a movie you have to read, but I enjoyed it so much, and I seen the direction, and I seen like the build up and everything. And this is a completely different movie, and I try to find flaws in it, but really, it's just a solid movie. You know what I mean? Like, only problem I had with the movie, though I can give it like a 4.5 if I wanted to, was kind of like the slow build. I think they could have sped it up, but for the sake of the movie and the story, everything was necessary.
That's that 0.5. That's my 0.5. What you just said, the slow build, and I wanted to know some backstory. But there's really no buts. Continue, sir.
Yeah, that was the only thing that kind of took me, because it's like, okay, let's get to the nitty gritty, and that's probably a thing of me being anxious because I don't do a lot of movies.
That's what I was about to say. When I was just like, you know what I mean?
So when it got busy though, it got busy.
They got down.
Yeah,
they got down, and that's basically what it was.
For me, the movie started whenever the vampire was basically getting chased from you know what I'm saying?
Yes. If you like, fast forward that's what I'm saying about an edit. If the movie would have started, if you would have cut all that out, like the son going to the church and all that, and just got to the part when he was getting chased.
Yeah.
If the movie would have started like that, that's not
good. So here it goes. That's probably from a directorial part. Like I say, like you could have did the movie. Now this is just me being critical. Now thinking about it, you could have started the movie there and did the flashback, boom, and got everything lined up to where all that slowness was built up, because you see, like as soon as he gets, you see him, then that energy gets to cooking. You know what I'm saying? And then you could do a flashback almost.
That flashback wasn't even needed.
No, I'm saying you could do a flashback of how
his ended really the same. Like if they start off like that.
Now this is me being petty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if they start off with Homeboy, the vampire dude. Spoiler alert, people. If you haven't seen it, sorry. You know what I'm saying? But if he starts off with the Indians, right, running through the thing, this movie starts just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Bang, they got us. That's the hook.
Yeah.
Right there. Now we cut to Smoke and Stack with the little homie in the car with the guitar. Now at the end we get the payoff where he gets scratched or when he's riding with Smoke and Stack. Let me talk into my mic, damn it. Or when he's riding with Smoke and Stack, there could be that flashback with his dad saying, "Hey, don't do that devil music real quick."
Right.
You know what I mean? Not that whole thing when he had to hug him.
Yeah.
And then we get that payoff at the end, because the payoff we already got. That's the payoff was that. the saying that, hey, see, I told you. So if we get him, say his dad doing scriptures in his head when he's in the car with Smoke and Stack on the way to whatever, the payoff
But
after he comes in the thing scratched up.
I think we're victims of this though. We're
Yeah.
victims of, yo, I like that car, but I would put these shoes on it. Or I would change it.
Revisionist history.
I would put this color to it.
Revisionist history.
The car is the car. It's beautiful, but you want to put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
So I'm being petty saying, okay, you do the flash right there. The movie be the movie.
Yeah.
That's what he put out. You know what I'm saying? It grows something crazy. So I'm a fan, which I don't want to be a fanatic, but it's like there hasn't been too many movies out that I think really can match this particular movie because of everything that goes along with it. And I'll say this, me and one of my homeboys is talking, it's basically, to me, it intertwines with Lovecraft Country, you know what I'm saying? And I believe the one actress that's in Lovecraft Country is the what they would call the hoodoo or voodoo chick. Like, she's in Lovecraft Country and she plays a great role in that also. But I mean, when it comes to like the vampirism, the sci-fi of things, and deep history, I think it's intertwined with Lovecraft Country. So if you ever seen Lovecraft Country and you liked it, you'll probably like this. This is more of a movie. Lovecraft Country was a series, only one season. But getting back to it, it's I would have to give it a 5. I would have to give Michael B. Jordan definitely a 5, and I get a movie a 5.
I think that everybody played their role. I have no complaints with none of the actors. Everybody played with who they were supposed to play. It was suspenseful. I was entertained. There were some messages in there. It was all around good movie.
What was your favorite part?
The white people wilding. I told you.
When they was out there dancing.
Oh yeah, because it's layered, but that was.
It seemed real.
It was just. It was humorous, but also it was just like layered to the you know what I'm saying, to the fact that where it's like, hey, we just and this is not like a white people thing. It was just like, hey, they just took over your party because they made the party outside.
Yeah.
The party was happening inside at first, but again, they wasn't allowed in. But it was like, hey, y'all want to come out here because we out here jamming too. Yeah. And they was having, and listen,
and that's something we used to do.
And when I'm saying the white
parties.
people was wild, and they was out there having fun.
You know what I mean? They was getting it, especially your boy Cornbread.
Yeah, shout out to Cornbread. But the other critique was I really didn't like the ending. I thought they could have did a little bit better with the ending, but other than that, yeah, it's a good movie. I can see why people like it. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you look at that as a horror movie or more as a suspense movie?
Let's not put a title on it. I think it could be whatever you want it to be.
Or thriller.
Well, I think it could be whatever you want it to be because it has a little bit of everything, because it even has some historical value to it, because you're going back to a time when it's basically, I think, like after Civil War type shit. You know what I mean? Like it's based, I think, what, 1930s.
I think it's Prohibition time because they reference El Capone. So I think at this point, at least has to be the time of Prohibition, because El Capone was referenced when he shot Homeboy in the ass.
So if I look at it, or if I can recall, I think it's the 1930s. I don't know what part, but that just I like movies that go back. You know what I mean? I like time period movies because I like the nostalgia of it, and you can see like how things were set up as far as where the Asians were along with the blacks. Like they had, you could see where there were different sides, but they were all together. You know what I'm saying? Like you had Asians across the street doing business with the blacks. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like you gotta figure the timing of everything. Like, when did they come and why did they come here and what were they doing here? And even the Asian daughter had a slang to her. You know what I mean? She spoke almost like the black people spoke. So it's like there was an influence. There was a kinship even amongst them, as like being friends.
Yeah, I mean, even if you doing that, even the one of the main characters, remember, she had to act like she was white, but she was black because she was mulatto that could pass for white.
Yeah, and that was a big thing too, because that's why I say historically it was good, because now you get to see how things went back then. Like, there was a time where people could get killed for that, and she probably could have got killed for that, and he could have probably got killed for even speaking to her at that time. So it was like there was a lot of elements, you know what I mean, to deal with that, because there was a lot of hidden stuff that didn't go on later on, like, or people wouldn't even know about it. You know what I mean? Now you're actually seeing it, and some people are looking at her like, you know, even the vampire was like, well, what is she doing? You know what I mean? Like, why is she here? You know what I mean? Basically saying like, yeah, we can't come in.
Yeah.
But what is she doing?
Because she was passing for white, and it was like, you know.
But I think that goes without being said, because that's told early. You know. What I mean?
Yeah. It was. That's, you know what I'm saying. That was just another, when you was talking about the historical thing and about the marker of time. What that took time living in, it was like even she could have got lynched, because even though she was quote unquote black, she looked white. And even the vampire that was white thought that she was white.
Well, let's not even say that he's white, because let's analyze it from the perspective historically. He's Irish, so he's not considered white at that time. He's considered Irish, and there's a difference, because as time went on, it started to be, it didn't matter if you were Irish, you were just white. But back then, they were considered something else, closer to what they would put us in a category, or use that term, you know what I mean? From where they were from, they were basically us, in a sense. I don't know exactly how that goes, but I think that's how he tried to treat it, as, hey, I'm just like you know, and basically,
as far as the vampire?
Yes, because he separated himself from the clan, because he wasn't a part of that part. You know what I'm saying? Like, those people were different than him, even in that, you know, the way they move, you know what I'm saying? Like, those were considered white people.
Yeah, we're spoiling the shit out of this movie, because now I'm looking at it, because that is right. He did come in there and said, hey, the Klan is going to come kill y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you a heads up, basically. You come with me, and we could do, you know what I mean? Like, we could conquer them together.
My thing was, I just can't put the 2 and 2 together after that, because they do the wink how he got in the crib. He seen the Klan thing. Oh, he gave him some money. Yeah, he acted like he was a Klan member. That's what it was.
Yep. Because he saw the garment.
Yeah,
he saw the garment. Yeah, he saw it. But at the same time, I look at it from an analogy point of, what are we all chasing? Money. He had the gold. That gold got him in the house. That gold triggered something else. That gold got him actually to get the one chick to actually kind of submit. So I don't want to, not to put too much out there, but the gold was something that was very important. And then when you think of gold, you think of Irish, and you think of leprechaun, you think of all this different mysterious shit going on too.
The gold just made him basically your hatred for something was so, it was almost like a Judah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, whatever your agenda is on, I'm not on. You know what I'm saying? You thinking that my thing is to mess with black people. Nah, dog. I'm trying to create a nation of vampires that want to listen to river music.
But the thing was also, if we go deeper, it always started with Sammy, because he was a prodigy, and what he could do with music, you see, it basically blew the roof off. Like, and that was showing that how powerful, and it went down and showed you the different genres of music that we created, that we invented, that was basically stole from us, in the sense of we do things freely and then they monetize it, and they're able to get a financial gain off of it, to where we're just in the moment, which is going on today. We create things and other people come and take it and capitalize on it.
So at the end of the day, the whole thing, the vampire came there because he wanted Sammy.
Yes, because remember he said, just give us Sammy, we'll let y'all go, because he knew that the clan was coming to get them anyway. But he gave him an olive branch and said, look, you might as well come hang with us, because they coming here to do you in the morgue. You know what I mean? And that's when he had his brother, and his brother was basically like, yo, I can read his mind. He's not lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's giving you real spill. Like, I'm connected to him. Like that whole beehive shit.
The hive mentality, that Borg mentality,
mm-hmm. So that was the part that you have to really pay attention to. That's why Sammy was a bigger character than most people put him in. If you really look at the movie, he's the main character. Like, really, Michael B. Jordan is not the main character. You know, even though he plays too, it's really Sammy, but he's so much of a big character and actor.
I think.
And that was Sammy's breakout moment
say
too.
Like this, I think they could have found a better Sammy.
They couldn't find a better Sammy because he's actually that guy. All that music is his, for real. He's a real singer. Like, he's a real blues, jazz / whatever singer he is. That's what I was thinking the same thing, because I was thinking at first.
Hold on, real quick. Is the younger Sammy the real Sammy or the older one?
The younger Sammy.
Okay.
Right now, like who he is right now.
Continue. Yeah. Let him go. Yeah, let him cook. Let him cook. Then. Sorry, I take that back.
For me, nope. When I first watched it, I was basically on some thinking like, yeah, they could have got a better actor until it got to the nitty gritty of it, and I'm like, yo, he's really that dude.
Okay, if that's him in real life, then that's let him cook.
He's really a musician.
Yeah, let him cook. That's like characters
that was just acting. Like, this
that's
is
like
his first
characters
time
on
acting.
The Wire. They're real life people. They're like
Like, he's a real musician. Like, he's nice.
Let him cook. Now, one thing that since we spoiled everything, I'm gonna ask you, and this is some critiques I had too, and I'm gonna bring it back because I said it but I didn't land it. You think they stuck the ending? You think they land the ending of the movie, or they could have did better? Did you because I didn't just like them just man, I would be like, especially it's different for you and I because we seen these sci-fi movies and all that, but them guys seeing that stuff, man, all that sci-fi stuff that happened, man, they would. Why are you standing there holding this dude? Y'all should be running.
I think after the fact, we could say that, but if you watch it more than once, you can see the nuances to why. You know what I mean? There's more to it. There's reasons why they just didn't, like, I'm out of here. It was just like you had to do, and plus just for the movie. You know, we watch movies plenty of times. You're like, man, this movie would have been over in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna give myself some pushback on that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just like, because again, we're at those times. Even when the brother heard when the whites was wilding, they never heard that frequency of music before.
No, they were paused. Like,
he was like, hold on.
Jam.
What is that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if it was thinking it was jamming. It was something. So I'm kind of agreeing with you per se. Like, we're just standing here in shock.
And plus, you gotta think. Let's go back in time too, because even the whole thing with old girl knowing what to do as far as a vampire, she wasn't really calling him a vampire. She was just saying you're dead. You know what I mean? Like, so. You're almost either like a zombie type. So it's like she understood that because what she dealt with, whether it be her spirituality and all that, and she understood certain
Well,
things.
she was labeled a
Yes.
Creole woman that probably practiced hoodoo, voodoo, and they probably looked at her at that mark of her time as some type of creepy type of woman.
Right, but she had the knowledge
Yeah.
of the spirits. You know what I'm saying?
I'm giving that same grace to her on how they thought about her, on how they thought about the whole thing. Everything was new.
Right.
They
And
were
it-
literally ignorant. They didn't know.
And you gotta look at the whole thing of like when they dealt with the money, because at first the one brother not understood why he was on it. Like, yo, we can't take this type of money. And she's like, look, I'm from here, you're from here. This is what we deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like these people work hard
the wood,
for
the wood nickels.
Yeah,
the
and-
wood nickels.
So it's like, I get it. I get where he was coming from. Like, we're not here for that. But she's like, this is all these people have.
And that's why they should have gave them backstory, showing them how they used to come from the hustle and bustle from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Because they're dealing with coin.
I mean, they kind of did, but
Yeah.
it's like you want a little bit more. I got it, but it's just like the casual fan is probably like, well, you know, and that's one of the things. Like, and it's kind of trickery because it's like, hey, go back and watch it. So it's like something you pick up the next time because
Right.
I watched it twice.
yeah, I got the name of the tune the first time, and it was just like,
But you know,
it was for the audience. It was like, man, if they would have showed why they don't respect this, and this is why they should have just cut a lot
Right.
of things out, because we would have known. It would have like they, you know what I mean?
we could
You give
say
us-
that, but at the same time, there's movies I watched today. Even like I said, my favorite movie, and that would be something like, damn, I didn't see that. Like I'll watch Belly now and see certain things like, man, I didn't even see that. Like I did have no idea that happened. And I can't really put something out there and say, okay, this is what I saw. It's just you see different things as time goes on. You're like, damn, I missed that. You know what I'm saying?
How about this one? I got why West Indian Archie called Malcolm X a country nigga. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I got because it was all because he was a, you know what I mean? He dressed bright. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? He was trying to do stuff with his hair. They set that up to let me know
Right.
why it was, and it was like I didn't. And again, I don't know budgets, but you know Malcolm X was what 3-hour movie.
Mhm.
I'm saying I wouldn't mind if Sleepy would have been 3 hours.
Right.
Just set that up. That's all.
Right.
And you know what I mean?
And that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about budget, you got to understand he did this not with the backing so much. He went and shopped this movie first. That's why he was able to do what he's able to do. From what I believe, like it wasn't like he had, you know, I don't think this movie would have ever seen the light of day had he went the route everybody else went. So that's why it's kind of like,
Yeah, I mean,
Great to me.
That's just what I'm trying to say. That's I'm picking. This is me being like petty almost. Like you know what I mean? Like,
right. I get
like,
it.
you know what I mean? Like this is my 0.5. You know what I'm saying? Why I didn't get the 5.
Right.
It was just like, you know, but again, there's budgets, things and stuff that we don't know that goes on behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I know that Spike Lee didn't have a good budget. I know he had to pretty much do the kind of same thing. But it was just like, I knew why they called Malcolm X country. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It was like, oh, he came up here from down there. He dressing all bright. He come off the train. Harlem! Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was like, okay, they nailed that. So
But plus, here's the part about Malcolm that's a little bit different, and you could probably relate to this. If you ever read the book, you're already hip, and even if you didn't read the book, you're hearing all these stories before the movie came out, even though it was based on a documentary in a sense, or you know, his life story. But it's just like you knew certain things, and they kind of came together. So the backstory was already kind of there. You know what I'm saying? Most people knew about Malcolm X because he was so big of a character in real life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like you're already kind of hip to a lot of things. So they didn't have
to. That's a quote unquote non-fictional story.
You didn't have
to. Fiction.
You didn't have to dance around.
This is not
the story. You knew.
This is not backed by history. Yeah. Malcolm X's stories you can kind of.
Yeah, there were points in the movie where you could relate to. Like I heard that. Mm-hmm. Like you say, by any means necessary. Like, oh yeah. I remember he.
Correct.
So even if the timings of things were a certain way, they still were able to fit things together on Malcolm X. Here's a movie that's coming out of nowhere, coming out of an imagination, coming out of, you know what I'm saying, you're putting a movie out based on a certain time, and which I think is one of the best things about the movie is the timing of it, because you're going to a time that's kind of unknown. Even though it's known, it's like you created your own spin on that time to where it makes it almost believable.
Yeah, I analogy was like you can put that as Get Out too. It's just who you invite into your life. You know what I mean? And that's something deeper. But you look at Get Out, sometimes you don't know who you're around. You know what I mean? And I look at that like Get Out too.
But Get Out to me was a completely different movie. I get the analogy you're saying, but it's like, to me, Get Out was more suspense than horror. But at the same time, it's like you're looking at this movie and you have no idea. Even though with Get Out you have no idea, but this is more, there's a lot more characters to it. Like Get Out was basically, there were only a certain amount of characters really, like real characters in it. This was like, there were big characters, how could I put it? They had their own story. Like they never went into those stories with Get Out other than the girl and her past, and then they showed the grandparents and things of that nature, and like you got to see why things were the way they are. This you couldn't really get but so much of the backstory. They showed the girl that was doing the voodoo and they lost her kid, but she saved him. She put the thing around his neck that kind of like saved him throughout the war, and like she put that that shield around him with that, and he's basically like, why couldn't you save our child? You know what I mean? There's a lot of different things going on, so, and even like when you look at like the Asian couple and them being a part of that night, you know what I mean, they basically talked them into it financially, like, look, we'll pay you this and this is what we need, you know what I mean? And they basically said, well, we need more than that. Just like he used money to actually get the old blues player, which I think he played a phenomenal role, you know what I'm saying, in the movie. They used money on him, you know what I mean, and they found a weakness, because you had the booze and you had the beer, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he's like, he never had any of that, so they kind of got him on that. From my perspective, I feel like they covered as much as they could in a short amount of time that they had to make the movie flow.
And that was going on in the background, because this is shit is playing. You can talk. It's cool anyway, because I got it on mute, so it's cool. I was just like doing some shit,
just making sure.
Yeah, but I was trying to find this clip to you. But go ahead and cook. You know what I'm saying? I can edit out whatever you're saying.
Yeah, that's all. Like, as far as like one of my favorite parts of the movie was with Cornbread, and I think a lot of people seen that because that was a big part of selling the movie, basically, when he was trying to come back in. So that dialogue back and forth amongst everybody I think it was creative. I feel like some of it was ad-libbed, which made it really good. And him being playful and joyful in the way he was actually moving and speaking and trying to get back in, it was just like, why do you need permission to get back in?
I look at it like I'm gonna ask you one thing. Do you see I see on the internet, do you see a part 2 of that coming?
From what I heard, there was never anything that he was looking at to actually do a part two. But I think because they left the door open on so many different things, that there's a great possibility that you could go ahead and make a sequel to it, or you could go in on it a little bit more. But I mean that's something that I don't think would surprise me, but it would, like, I would like to see how, you know what I mean. But I think the door is open for it. I just don't know how it would be done. I know what I would probably do if I was in that position, but that's a whole bunch of ifs and buts.
Well, we have these things called prequels now, so maybe he might can take it back and we just learn the story of Smoke and Stack before we even get, you know what I mean? He can probably do a whole thing, because, again,
I mean,
real quick, if you hear me talking about it, he could probably do a whole spin-off of Smoke and Stack. Really, if he wanted to, and just separate the whole thing, kind of like what, kind of like Star Wars did.
I think probably the better thing to do would not be a movie, and your money, you could make a lot of money off of a season. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you break, like, that's why, if you break it up, that's why a lot of people are making movies so much. They're making seasons, so then you could break it up and you can give all that information, you know what I'm saying? So then you got like 10 movies instead of just having one movie. You got these episodes that are like movies in themselves, you know what I'm saying? So I think they could do a backstory on it that way, and then catch you up to speed, and then keep going. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be better than the actual movie, because now a movie, you're looking for certain things that happen, and that might steal the juice. But it's
I agree with you, but the whole thing about once you take it to TV, you're dealing with a lower budget. So
not TV, like cable TV.
Like, say, take it to Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
you don't.
If Netflix, yeah, because I'm like saying, like, I don't think that Homeboy's gonna be doing no TV.
Because it's just like, if you look at for instance, like, if you look at Snowfall, everybody knows that's pretty much Freeway Ricky's, Rick Ross's story basically was sniped from him.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people, a couple other people claim that I've never watched it.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is my point.
Yeah.
The series, it was better there was a series, because now you're going along for the ride. Mm-hmm. And then you got anticipation for the next episode. You know what I'm saying? Even like something like Gotham. That was cool, because even though you're dealing with, you know what you're dealing with as far as Batman, the story and all that. So it's just like, okay, let's stretch it out and just get all we can squeeze out of it. And they pretty much did. But if they did a movie of the real Rick Ross, I don't know how it would hit after Snowfall. It might, but it's just like, it's kind of like, everything was like kind of there, and then they kind of distorted it later on, so it wouldn't look like Freeway's, life. But the gist of it is, that's his life. You know what I mean? Like, now he can make a movie and detail it better, but a movie, so it's condensed. You know what I mean? It's like condensed. Like, you can't really get everything out of it. So it's like it's hard. You know what I'm saying? Just like they brought back Malcolm in that Bumpy Johnson story. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as, I forget what the title of that was, but he's in and out of that. You know what I mean? So they got him playing. Not to say it was correct, but it was just like, you get to see bits and pieces of Malcolm in that. You know what I mean? So it's like, those seasons last longer, and then, you know what I mean? Like, and you get some money on the back end.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's all I got on Sinners. Last word is yours on that, because I want to get your opinion on something else. But last word is yours on Sinners. Say what you got to say on that.
I mean, do you got a question? Do you got something like? I mean, I don't really know what you want me to end off on.
I'm willing to end the conversation, because I think we nailed it. That's
right.
What I'm pretty much saying. Like,
no, that's why I asked. Do you have any other questions?
Saying, like, if you wanted to tell the people why they need to see the movie, You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Right.
I want to say this then, because if you don't have any questions,
Yeah.
I got some things that I like to bring up based
Yeah.
off of like on. I heard certain people talk about it like they don't want to see it based on they think that it's demonic in a sense, and you know the people's putting out bad juju about it, like, oh man, I don't want to see that. The people saying this, that, and the third. But what I will say is, no matter what walk of life you're in, you have to look at the message. And there's a message in there that I grabbed was basically his father being a preacher, and he said something to the effect of, you know, be careful dancing with the devil. He might just follow you home. Now I feel like that being said, it's like that's something that we can all apply to our lives. When you know you're doing something that's wrong and you continue on doing it and you think you're getting away with something, you're really not. You know what I'm saying? Like it can follow you home and it can torment you. That's what I got out of it, and that's what ultimately goes back to the movie, to where, you know, it kind of works for religious people, it kind of works for spiritual people, it kind of works for people that have nothing to do with nothing. You know what I mean? Because I have a belief in the sense of there's a part of you that knows right from wrong, and there's a part of you that likes to do wrong, even though you don't want to do, you know what I mean, even though you shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? And just in life period, until you get to a certain age and you understand that, hey, I have to stop doing the things that I was doing that were wrong or would be considered negative, and not just by society, just by your own spirit. So I would say that, and plus I would also say I did like the play of the actual brothers making a pact, like basically, I'll spare your life if you let Sammy live his life. You know what I mean? That was another part of it that I thought it was interesting.
That was cool. That was cool, and I also like the fact, not to interject, even though last word was yours, but I didn't really get to that. It was like I really did like the fact that Sammy got a little leg shot in there too. Hey man, I can live up sun up and sundown.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you might got that. And then he threw it back like, yeah, man, I pretty ain't much had a good night's sleep since that day.
Yeah. And
You know what I mean?
that's another thing I liked about it. If you really think about it, a lot of movies that are good to me are pretty much one day. And that's basically all that was one day and night. That's the whole movie. And that's why he said I really couldn't sleep, because that shit all happened in one day. Everything that happened in one day. Like, and even though it was a movie and it seemed like, oh, this is a ride, but it's like everything happened all in that day. Him meeting this person, him meeting that person, him hooking up with the girl, this girl he ran into he ain't seen in years.
Shout out to my big brother Pimp. I want to ask you this vital question. This is important. From dusk till dawn, will Selma Hayek would have got you?
She got me.
When she put that foot in her mouth?
Hey, listen. Hey, right now.